Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Crewe match review. So Sunderland did get themselves another victory. That is 2 wins in as many games, but this time against bottom of the league Crewe. 2-0, 3 points, and I'll take it. That's probably the main thing I'll say about this one. I'll take it. The performance, and I'm sure you will have known by now, and a lot of other content creators will say the same thing. It was a largely poor and frustrating performance, but it was as if we kind of unlocked the potential that we know that we kind of have, but only for like the last sort of 8 or so minutes of the game. You know, for the last sort of 10, 9, 8 minutes, whatever it was, we actually started to play some decent football, and that's when we scored the goals. The rest of the game, it was really, really poor, but we'll get into it from the off. So we started off with 3 at the back, something I did say in the review of the preview to this game, and I also touched on it during the Fleetwood live stream as well. I feel like when we did go to 3 at the back against Fleetwood, of course it gave us much more of sort of attacking fluidity, and we had just simply more bodies up top, of course giving us more of a chance to score goals, which is why we pretty much were just throwing the kitchen sink at that point, because we needed to win the game. We were 1-0 down at half time against Fleetwood, and that's why I changed it, Alex Neil. And Alex Neil did say after that game that he never really wanted to go to the 3 at the back. It was just simply needs must type things. So I didn't expect him to start with a 3 at the back. But when I did see it, I thought, right, okay, maybe he just simply thinks this team on paper with the attacking players we do have on the pitch with this lineup and this system, it's going to just be simply too much for Crewe to handle. And it really wasn't the case for large parts, because getting into the lineup itself, we had Patterson in goal, we had Sirkin, Bailey Wright and Winchester as the back 3. And then it was almost like a 5 kind of. It was Clark who started, we had Matete, ONeil, Evans and Gooch, and then we had Defoe and Stewart starting. Now you could maybe argue that ONeil was supposed to be the kind of the middleman between the 2 thirds, being the middle third and the final third, but that didn't quite work out, and I will get into that. But yeah, so on paper you'd look at that and you think, okay, that's just so much attacking potential there, just get at them and we'll batter them. But we were really poor, we were predictable, and that system really shot ourselves in the foot, in my opinion. Because what was happening time and time again, don't get me wrong, we were dominating possession. For the majority of the game, we had, I think it was between like 65% to 70% possession. And that's all well and good, but you need to do something with it. And we were doing absolutely nothing with it for the majority of the game. It was really, really poor and predictable. So what was happening with this 3 was, you would have either Gooch on one side or Clark on the other. They'd get down the wings, just inside the opposition half, just inside the Crewe half. Then there'd be no runners. There'd be no overlap, because Sirkin can't overlap for Clark, and Winchester sure as hell can't overlap for Gooch, because if we lose the ball there, then you're only going to have Bailey Wright at the back, and we'd be screwed. And that actually did happen. A couple of times we actually attempted to try the overlap. All they had to do was pump it over the top. Bailey Wright was in absolute no man's land, and they had a couple of chances, 1-on-1 with the keeper pretty much in that first half. Fortunately for us, they squandered it. One of them went high and wide, and one of them went straight at Pato. But in another game, we could have been 2 goals down, but like I say, we're dominating possession but making nothing with it. You had Matete and Evans in the middle that were just kind of backwards. Matete was trying to drive forwards at times, but Evans, again, and I have been accused of using Evans as a scapegoat, but largely, or at least the majority of the team yesterday, they didn't perform well, and I'll say that. Of course, all of them did. But Evans, it's another game for Evans to his large tally of not very good games. Other players are inconsistent. They have a bad game, then a half decent game, then maybe a bad game, then a really good game. You might have a bit of inconsistency, but what it is with Evans, if anything, you have the consistency of poor games, and that's what it is for me. I don't think, for me anyway, he's definitely not a scapegoat for me. I don't generally just cling on to one player and consistently say shit when I'm frustrated. I just don't believe that Evans is a good player, and that's it. So I just wanted to answer people who simply think I'm using him as a scapegoat, because I don't believe that's true or fair, really. But yeah, so it was really, really frustrating. It was really frustrating. And what it was with ONeil, now here it goes, because a lot of people think I favour ONeil, but I'm actually going to dig him out a little bit here, because what was frustrating with me with ONeil, which really wasn't helping at all, there was a huge gap between the middle third and the final third, because ONeil, I believe he was supposed to play the sort of 10 role in behind the strikers, but his movement off the ball for that role was awful and predictable, because what he kept doing is, when we did pick it up in the middle or out wide, rather than coming into that, that pocket, that hole, and showing for it, what he kept on doing was making this really obvious, predictable run where he would just sprint straight forward and then sit alongside Defoe and Stewart, and it was almost just like a flat 3 up top at that point. easy as hell for them to defend because all they does is just tuck alongside and get marked. Rather than coming into the hole, giving us no assistance at all, giving us no options at all. And then what would happen is we'd go forward on the wings, and because there was no options, we'd go back. Then he'd go back to Bailey Wright, who would do his famous punt up top, and that's all we were doing. All game, first and second. That is all we're doing. First and second half, that is all we're doing. Pumping it forward, just smashing it towards Jermaine Defoe's neck or up at Roscoe, and that was literally it. We had the odd half. I think the first chance we had on goal was the last second, pretty much, of the first half, where ball was put in, and Ross Stewart actually did get his head on it, and he went straight to the keeper, and that was it. So yeah, we were dominating possession, which is all well and good, but the system just did not work. There was a lot of, I think, square pegs and round holes in that system, and it just didn't work. It didn't work at all. We needed that width of Sirkin at left back or Winchester on the right back on that side, so we could get some overlaps and get a bit more movement on the wings, because down the middle, of course, it would have probably helped a bit more if ONeil did play that role a bit better, if we had someone like Pritchard there who likes to come deep and pick it up and then turn, and then we might have been able to create something. But we had this huge disconnect, like I say, between the middle and final third, and ONeil wasn't plugging that gap because he kept making this straight, direct run straight towards Ross Stewart and Defoe and wasn't really showing for it. So it was very, very frustrating. Second half, more of the same. Crewe actually had another great chance, 1-1 the keeper, which was squandered. And it was another one where, we're trying to clear the ball away. They punt it back straight back our end. Bailey Wright misses out, and his position is poor. He's 1-1 the keeper and luckily makes a mess of it. But eventually, we do make subs. Defoe comes off, as well as others. But we bring on, Roberts, Diaku as well. And they completely changed the game. O'Neill, of course, and absolutely changed the game. Diaku's running was fantastic. They were direct. They were actually asking questions of him, which is what I love to see. And eventually we do break the deadlock. And with O'Neill, for me, my man of the match, purely because what he was doing from the middle two, from the centre of midfield, what we weren't getting from Matete and Evans in the first half, or large parts of the second as well. They weren't trying to sort of penetrate them from the centre. A lot of it was just kind of nicking the ball off it, then back to the defence, and then Bailey Wright would punt it forward, and that was it. What O'Neill was doing was actually looking up and going forward, which sounds so simple, but they just simply wasn't doing it, Matete and Evans. I think Matete had the one time where he did actually manage to break forward in the first half, but other than that, we just didn't see it at all. And we know he's capable of it, but he just didn't do it. But O'Neill come on. His movement off the ball, the second he gives it, he goes. He wants to get back in the ball immediately, and that's how we get to the first goal. He's breaking forward. It's a really positive, lovely ball into Ross Stewart, who holds onto the ball, waits for the run back from O'Neill on the edge of the box. He hits it first time after Ross plays it to him. First time, puts it into the bottom right-hand corner. Beautiful, beautiful finish, beautiful goal. And, throughout the whole game, you have to give it to Crewe in terms of their defensive work. They did play really well. They were really organised. They had everyone behind the ball, as I kind of predicted. Played on the counter-attack when they could. Although their time wasting, Jesus Christ, my God, I thought it was bad with Fleetwood and they were awful in itself, but literally from the 9th, 10th minute, their goalkeeping in the hole, just a tin pot shit of, when you're taking goal kicks, taking absolute age, they put it on one side of the 6-yard box, about to take the goal kick, and then think, oh no, actually I'm going to put it on the other side. Just those kind of tactics, and they're throwing themselves on the floor for ages, just taking age for subs and throw-ins, and it was ridiculous from so early on. And that's why the crowd was getting on the ref's back for it, and rightly so, because it was an absolute piss take. All the ref needed to do early doors was just show one yellow card to one of their players, and it would set a precedent of we're not tolerating this bullshit. But it took until the second half where he did start brandishing the card quite a few times, and at one point, because the goalkeeper took the piss so much to kick it out of his hands, we actually got an indirect free kick in the box. So which obviously didn't come to anything, but still. It was good to see the referee did actually just take notice in the second half. But yeah, so anyway, so getting into it, my point was, once that O'Neill goal went in, it just felt so good to basically just say, particularly later on in the game where they've been doing all this time wasting the entirety of the game, and all it's done is just eventually, it's just come to us winning the game anyway, or them conceding anyway, because then we can start to do a little bit of time wasting ourselves, and then they're having hissy fits going, no, time wasting. It's like, no. Fuck off, mate. You've been in it for 80 minutes. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, we managed to get a second, and this is just as good as the O'Neill goal for me. I love the build-up from this. Lovely ball from Matete in the centre. Puts it on the left-hand side, Clark. He chests it to his teammate, Roberts. Lovely interlinking play. Back to Clark. Clark is driving at them down the left-hand side, just coming into the box. Pulls it back to Roberts. One touch, then another. Then he drives it into the bottom right-hand corner to make it 2-0, and we see it out. 2-0. At the end of the day, I'll take it. Like I said earlier, I will absolutely 1000% take it. It was a poor performance. It was an abysmal game of football. And I think against other sides, against other teams, if we play that system and play at that level, we will get battered. But at the end of the day, it's another game in which, similar to the Fleetwood game where we didn't play particularly well, but we come away with 3 points. I'm not going to complain, but we come up against teams like Lincoln soon, Rotherham as well. I don't think we can play that 3 at the back system. Yes, if it's all backs against the wall, and we just need to throw the kitchen sink at it, then I get it, just get all the attackers on the pitch and go for it. 100% understand that. But from the off, I don't think we should do. We don't have the players fit for that. With Sirkin, we need him in a much more attacking position. He's a lot more dangerous there. But it's just, they were all kind of in no man's land at times. I think Alex Neil just knew that we would be quite dominant in terms of possession, which is fair enough. But you need to remember that you are going to concede chances as well, despite how, with no disrespect to Crewe, but at the moment they are bottom of the league. So, despite how maybe poor the team you come up against may be, they're going to create chances. They're going to make at least one chances, and they made 2 or 3 chances, and all of them 1-1 with the keeper. Best chances of the game, arguably. And that happens when you have 3 at the back that are just so, not on each other's wavelength. It's a system they don't understand. Winchester playing in the back 3, he was meant to be a central midfielder. Sirkin, who's naturally a left wing back. It just didn't really work. All it took was them 2 or 3 hoops over the top, and they 1-on-1 with the keeper. So against teams like Lincoln or better sides, we will not get away with that. But I'm going to take it. Man of the match. Jesus Christ, it's early in the morning when I'm recording this, guys. Dan Neil is my man of the match because it's so good to see him come back and the confidence he had, and the determination, hunger and passion he's shown, and the goal was phenomenal as well. So I'm going to give it to Dan Neil to come back and put on a performance like that and just show the only shred of quality throughout the entirety of the game. It was so good to see, so good to see. But yeah, so you guys let me know in the comments down below, what did you guys think of the game? Was it as bad as I made out? Because I think it really was a shocking game up until the goals at the end. Let me know in the comments down below. But if you enjoyed and you're buzzing with another Sunderland 3 points, hit the like button for me, it'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe if you're new. But for now, you take care and stay jammy.